Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers getting it done on the 2024 high school recruiting trail, landing commitment from five-star linebacker Sammy Brown. According to 24/7 Sports, the number 5 player in the nation, the number 1 backer in the country, and the number 1 player out of the state of Georgia. We talked about it about a week ago about how big of a recruiting weekend Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers were about to have on June 2nd. And it's already bearing fruits. And we're going to talk about some of the other prospects that they seemingly have gained a lot of traction with. But we got to talk about Sammy Brown first, who is, we talk a lot of commits. We talk a lot of recruiting here. This is probably my favorite prospect in the 2024 class, just from like his pure, the mullet, absolute beauty, beautiful mullet. But also, like when you talk about what he brings to the football field, he's an absolute blast to watch. We're going to check out some of his highlights, talk about what he brings to the table athletically. Now, before we do again, just want to say thank you to you guys. Y'all know I have a blast talking recruiting, reading about this stuff, talking with you guys in the comment section, and all the support you guys have shown truly does mean a lot. So again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys. And Clemson fans, we'll talk about some of the traction they're gaining with some other prospects, but I think it's going to be a pretty fun month in the month of June for the Clemson Tigers on the recruiting trail. So lock in if you do enjoy it. Let's start talking Sammy Brown. I got my notepad out for kind of what I want to touch on. Let's start on the football field. 3,500 rushing yards as a running back. We're going to check out some of his running back film. And to be quite frank, someone who's 6'2", 230 pounds as a rising senior at high school shouldn't be able to move as well as a guy like Sammy Brown does it. And that's why you see 24/7 Sports have him as the number 5 national prospect in the country. 200 tackles at the linebacker position. He has phenomenal instincts, but what you see when you watch him is just the pure athletic traits. Like this dude is strong, he's fast, he's everything you want in the modern day linebacker at the college football level. You go at Clemson and look at their defense. Trenton Simpson going to the NFL draft. Jeremiah Trotter, Barrett Carter, 2 guys who I think could be first-round picks in the 2024 NFL draft. And I'm not quite ready to say Clemson's linebacker you, but you look at the young talent in this linebacker room and some of the linebackers that they have developed, it's certainly trending that way. And it's a position that's quite frankly really important to Clemson's defense. And that's probably what resonated so much with Sammy Brown is Dabo Swinney. Y'all know if you guys follow Clemson recruiting pretty closely, Dabo Swinney doesn't offer guys when they're sophomores and freshmen in high school. Sammy Brown got a very early offer from Clemson. I think Dabo Swinney kind of made him a priority throughout the whole recruiting process. So even when Georgia and Tennessee came knocking, it was always Clemson that kind of made him feel like he was their guy. And I think that's why you land the commitment. Now, getting back to Sammy Brown, why he is one of my favorite prospects outside of the mullet and outside of how productive he's been on the high school football field Friday nights. 2-time state champ as a wrestler. Like you talk about getting people to the ground. This is a guy that is, winning state championships in wrestling ain't easy. Sammy Brown has done it twice, as well as being a phenomenal football player and track and field athlete. And then the last thing, just an absolute weight room warrior, a 405-pound power clean. That's truly, truly insane. That's college football weightlifting numbers. And even if you're a strong guy in a college football weight room, that's big time. And he's a 17-year-old kid. So getting even just away from what Sammy Brown is as an athletic specimen, when you watch him on the football field, this dude is a straight up football player. Let's just for some fun, like take a look at some of what he brings to the table as a highlight reel. You're going to see him playing a lot of running back. And this is kind of what I mean. And I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson gives him some offensive touches because this dude is a menace to bring down. But what's more, even if he doesn't play on the offense side of the ball, which I'd be surprised if he does for Clemson, like the movement skills, the contact balance, the spatial awareness, there's a reason why he's the number 1 linebacker in the country. You see all that athletic traits of him as a running back. And we're going to get to some linebacker film too. And as you guys would imagine, he's a guy that just the main thing, go sideline to sideline, right? That's something that you need to do at the college football level, especially in a Power 5 conference like the ACC. You're dealing with covering fast tight ends, running backs to the sideline. Sammy Brown's ability to go sideline to sideline, be a sure tackler like the all-state or state champ wrestler that he is. There's just so much to like. And then you want to see some ball skills just for fun. I legit, and you guys can tell I'm a little excited here. He's legitimately a superhuman, in my opinion. And as a linebacker, a do-it-all guy that can cover tight ends, that can fill in the run game. It's such a good get for Dabo Swinney. And on top of that, Dabo Swinney, as much as he gets some heat from maybe kind of not staying stuck to his old ways, if you will, he has developed an all-time culture in that locker room. Like, guys don't hit the transfer portal that much. They don't really bring in any guys in the transfer portal, but that culture that Dabo Swinney has cultivated over his tenure at Clemson is truly special. And when you talk about adding a guy like Sammy Brown, it's seemingly a perfect fit. Now, I want to talk now about some of the other recruits that Clemson has got some real traction on after that massive official visit weekend that they had. KJ Bolden from the state of Georgia. So you have the Sammy Brown, Georgia connection. It sounds like Georgia's still probably the leader there. But Mike Matthews, another kid from Georgia, from what I heard, Clemson made some serious headway in terms of Mike Matthews' recruitment. Now, you're still going up against some heavy hitters in the terms of Tennessee. I know USC's in on him. But again, you get Sammy Brown in the fold. No doubt Mike Matthews and KJ Bolden know Sammy Brown well from the state of Georgia. I think you're feeling pretty good about that. And then Brian Wesco, this is the intriguing one. Track athlete. He's got good range. He's still got to fill out that frame a little bit. Clemson, all of a sudden, after this recruiting weekend, has the inside track on a kid in Brian Wesco coming over from the state of Texas. And Sammy Brown's awesome. But if you asked me who's the next guy you want from this visit weekend, it's probably one of those wide receivers. That's a position that I like what they have in Adam Randall and Antonio Williams in terms of some of the young guys. But it's been a position that historically Clemson's been very good at developing and recruiting, right? You think about DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, and some of those other guys that have played for Clemson. I probably just left out like 2 or 3 names, so apologies there. But it's been a position that probably hasn't been that great the last couple of years for Clemson, and that could be kind of quarterback play and offensive coordinator structure, or it could be just not getting enough talent into the position. Brian Wesco, a guy that has phenomenal track speed, he's a great long jumper, would be just some juice that is added into this wide receiver room for Clemson. And going down the list, another guy, TJ Moore, who a little bit different than a Brian Wesco. TJ Moore, more of a bigger bodied boundary kind of guy. Also, Clemson seemingly taking the lead for him out of Tampa, Florida. So Dabo Swinney does things differently, right? And we said that last week and during this official visit weekend where he only has one official visit weekend. If you want to go to Clemson and you want to check Clemson out, you better book your tickets June 2nd. And what did he do? He got all the top prospects and top targets for Clemson all on campus during the same weekend. I think when you're walking the campus, you're meeting with the coaches, you're looking around at all this phenomenal high school talent and saying, this could be a special class in 2024 if we can get some of these guys in the fold. So I think Clemson extremely excited about that. And again, no more official visits for Clemson during this class, but Clemson's historically a late closer in terms of recruiting, right? You take a look at where they're at right now as we pull it up, sitting at, and Sammy Brown hasn't been added. So this is going to get a jump, right? But it's the 22nd overall ranked class with only 9 commits, adding Sammy Brown into the fold here. But because Dabo Swinney doesn't really start that recruiting process until guys are going into their junior year, you sometimes get a little bit of a slow start on the recruiting trail. I would certainly expect that to pick up as they get some guys on campus during the fall. And you got Sammy Brown into the fold. I think he immediately kind of becomes the crown jewel of the class and also the main recruiter of the class. Like, I think a lot of these guys are going to gravitate to a guy like Sammy Brown, not only because of the mullet, but how good of a player he is and how athletic he is and seemingly a charismatic dude. So Clemson fans, for one, you got my favorite guy. I'm very happy I don't have to see him in the Big Ten when we're playing Ohio State, as I'm a Michigan fan. And you guys, I think, can be absolutely thrilled with landing the commitment of Sammy Brown. Again, appreciate you guys for checking the fellas out. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.